were just like, wow, like we were kings. They hadn't even conceptualized that there was something different that predated what they had been taught about. And that's just a simple, like, 1 hour conversation with a group of kids. So I think that that's the education that we can do regularly to just teach kids, and I mean, frankly, adults too, like what's possible from a business standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, like things that we are allowed to feel and experience. And I've been thinking a lot about another podcast that I was on. He said, even what we like to eat is political.
Right.
So thinking about, like, we talked before about, like, I want our kids to experience different types of food.
Yeah.
Like, because even in that is political. Like, if you're from the hood and have never gone anywhere else, the likelihood that you like Thai food is very slim because it's not going to be in your neighborhood.
Well, I grew up in the hood and I got lucky.
But to eat some stuff, but even like fresh fruit, like you can taste the difference and even see the difference in like Walmart fruit versus Trader Joe's versus somewhere else versus like getting it at a farmer's market. Like we had grapes in our fridge for like 2 weeks that won't go bad.
But we've said that. But I've said that to you before. You grew up in the. I don't feel like your area is hood to me.
It's
the area in which he stays.
But you know why you don't think it's hood? Because like you gotta remember, Florida is different from places like even where you live at. Right,
even my place is considered to be hood.
Right
like
there.
I lived in North Miami Beach, across Oak Grove Park.
But 6th Ave,
and I didn't think it was.
No,
like to me,
but 6th Ave is one of the most dangerous avenues down here.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like, but anyway.
But what I was trying to say is that you grew up in the hood, and for you, your mom came from her parents. Migrated here from the Bahamas, and they still had that cultural aspect. Like your mom still to this day will cook some fried conch.
Right.
Hello. And like you grew up around, because of your tradition and your religion, you grew up around Cuban, so you was eating arroz and habichuela like before.
Just the tradition. My grandma neighbors.
Yeah, and then your grandma's neighbors. So you had enough. That's a good thing. When we talk about this all the time, that's a good thing about being from Miami, especially if you're like down South Miami. There's so much diversity within the culture that you could be in a food desert and you could still maybe have something different from what you would grow up eating.
Of course. I think that's a really interesting thing about down here is when I went to, I remember I was talking to somebody from, I think they was from Alabama, and somebody from New York, and I was there, and I was like, "Y'all ain't got nobody that sell conch." Like, what's that? Conch?
Yeah,
conch. Come, bro, come. Black conch. They didn't know what that is, but just like realizing that we grew up with all of these Caribbean meals. That we ate, I feel like I ate Caribbean food just as much as I ate soul food.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, that's just like regular black people food. But to them, they didn't eat shit like that. So I think it's a lesson being down here.
We say that all the time because, like, even with the music, like, I pick on him, but like, you don't listen to my music when I'm like cleaning the house. But like our house is so.
I listen to it.
If whoever walks by our house when we're cleaning must be like, who the fuck lives there? Because you ever seen that Instagram video where it's like, don't get in the car with me because if you ask me to like play my radio and it was like hip hop, rock. That's literally what our house sounds like. There's like bachata, balada, then it's like Stevie Wonder and Marvin Gaye, and then it's like back to Spanish, and then you might hear a little bit of rock, and then you might hear a little bit of hip hop. But that's because John consistently picks on me because like, how do you know about like the Temptations and how do you know about all this stuff when you grew up in a Hispanic household? I'm like, I went to FAMU. Like,
right.
I went to a majority of the students that I went to when I was in high school and in middle school. Majority of my friends were black, so I was listening to the things that they were listening to because that's what it was exposed. And I exposed them to the things. Like one of my closest friends, Chevelle, she's Jamaican. And she was surprised when I started randomly singing like a song, and she was like, "How do you even know that? That's not even mainstream." And it's like because
Florida. Yeah.
I'm consistently with you when you like.
I like when she plays songs. I'm like, I heard this when I was a kid because when my grandparents stay up, they borderline like high end, but it's a lot of Hispanics in that neighborhood. It's unincorporated Miami, but it's like
What's the street that your granddad?
98th Street.
He's like by Dade.
And in that area,
by the main campus.
Dade and all that stuff.
What they call it though?
Well, if you go down, they call it like they got a place called they used to call it still call it like the Robin Hood or whatever. You know what USA Flea Market
used to be.
Mm-mm.
But it's in that area, and like they like literally.
It's not that far from the Opalaka Flea Market.
Yeah, it's not that far from there. Like, literally,
I'm just asking.
You know what 103rd Street up?
Yeah,
it's right there, in that area. So I should listen.
Once you cross the bridge, it's like you already in high.
That's how I live, pretty much. So I'm like. Growing up, I'm like, I listened to all these Spanish music. I just didn't know the name of the people who made it. You know what I'm saying? So she'll try to pick on me, but I'm looking at you, I'm like, you know where I was born and raised up?
Yeah, right.
You know, when I went to school, like, when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I just lived in Miami Lake, so it was a lot of Hispanics, you know. Then from public school to private school, you know, I was around the Dominicans and the Cubans and stuff like that. So it's like I know a little bit of it. You know, I may not have the master, but if I heard a song, like I heard that when I was like 10 years old. Mm-hmm. You know, so
yeah, we blessed with a lot of diversity down here, man.
Like even when I went to LA, matter of fact, like I thought LA was gonna be like Miami, but LA is really you either black, you either Asian. You either, what's it called? Mexican, like it's. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of cultures down over there too, but it's not like here where you got the Haitians, Jamaicans, Bahamians,
black people,
black people, white folks. It's so many different cultures down here. Like I was telling her the other day, like. There's this restaurant, Dominican restaurant up in Broward, up in by the Hard Rock.
Pollo Típico.
And I was like,
sponsor,
this pretty much y'all soul food.
Yeah, that
you know what I'm saying? Like everybody, you know, for me, I thought soul food was just, you know, what black folks crib. I'm like, everybody got a soul food. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, people just don't realize like, you know, this your soul food. You know, like.
It's comfort. It's not soul food. It's comfort food. Soul food is what you guys would consider as comfort food. Yeah. You're looking at my comfort food as what would be equivalent to your comfort food, which is soul food. Right. You get what I'm saying?
But I don't say comfort food. I say soul food.
I know what you're saying.
Sometimes I feel like sometimes you don't have to. Like I don't know. Like sometimes I'm just like, bro, that's our soul food, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like,
yeah. No, that's true too. I mean, there's this really, really good Puerto Rican restaurant called Casa Borican in
Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood, right off Taft, and I think almost 441. Yeah, but amazing Puerto Rican food. And that's kind of like what I consider a comfort food there too. And if you ever go, I don't know if y'all ever been to Lauderdale. Yeah. But like. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale, in between like Fort Lauderdale, Lauderdale Lakes, and in between that area is just blackety black, but super Caribbean, right? So there's like Trinidadian restaurants, Jamaican restaurants, Haitian restaurants, Bahamian restaurants, like every type of like black
Lagrange,
soul food. Like,
there's one Peruvian spot.
There's so much like black food there and black restaurants and black culture.
Lagrange
in that
is
area.
Peruvian.
Yeah,
and it's like
so
many different Caribbean foods.
Especially in that area. Like I remember I seen a Jamaican and a Bahamian restaurant next to each other, or a Haitian and a Jamaican restaurant next to each other. You know, so.
But that goes back to like what we were saying. Like that's the way that we're foodies. So that's how we support like our cultures. We give back to our cultures by invest. Like we don't. Me and John are consistently looking for different places to go eat that are not mainstream. Like I like Chili's. I'm sorry. And that's
This is a good regular restaurant.
Yeah, that's like where
the buy one get one free.
That's where I go. That's my place. But like John and me are consistently looking for what is a low key like Asian. Like we went to a sushi spot recently by what was it called? The one that you went to when you were mad at me, and
I forgot because I was mad at you.
We were mad at each other.
Oh, it was in Davie. It was called King Todd, something like that.
It was in Davie. It was like next to a Mexican spot, and I was like, I want to go to that Mexican spot because I've never been there. But like me and John, and I think that's what Miami has taught us is that we're so consistently looking for something different aside from what we know.
I think it's the whole Florida in general because I don't care what no one say. Even when you go to Tallahassee and stuff, like y'all had a Thai restaurant up there,
and we had a Colombia. You remember Super Perros?
Yeah, like it's like
my dad loves that place.
When you go to Gainesville, you go to Jacksonville. It's like when you all over Florida, like I know it's certain.
There ain't no Peruvian food to it.
But now, like in certain parts, like I know, like in West Florida, like you know Tampa and all that, you see more like the
Orlando got a lot of diversity.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful thing. That's why like Florida is just Florida. You know, it may be crazy down here, but
Florida man.
It's still south. It's still south.
So election year is coming up, and when we had our not one of the big elections, I'm using air quotes because it wasn't a presidential election, it was more of like a what is it called?
No,
it wasn't a primary. A midterm. It was the midterm election. I was very grateful because you shared a video on like all of the amendments, and I shared it with John that we should be supporting for our communities and for our just that would benefit us. So what are your thoughts for this year's elections, and what are you guys seeing we should be focusing more on? Where should we be doing more of our research so that we are, because I'm a little ratchet and I love Cardi B, and Cardi is really pushing for everyone to get educated and stuff like that, which it's funny, but she has a point. You know, we have all of these candidates, and we have all of these other issues that we really need to start focusing on. Where should we start focusing on? What should we be doing our researches on? You know, what is like...
I would say, I mean, you know the big names, right? You know Bernie, Elizabeth, Kamala. You know all of those running for the presidential.
Let me get the charger real quick.
You can make your decision based on whatever your values are when it comes to that. I'm personally a Bernie guy, so I'm voting for Bernie.
John thinks he's like, that's his uncle.
Yeah. But besides that, I think more importantly, folks should start looking at their local races, right? So like, who is your current city commissioner? Right. Who's your mayor? Are those races coming up in 2020? Are they coming up this year? Who's your state representative? Who's your congressman? All of these people play a bigger role in your everyday life than the president, right? The president could change something that may not touch you, but your city commissioner can change something tomorrow, and then you can't drive down the street, right?
Yeah.
So it's more important to look at like whose district are you in, who's representing you on more of the local races, and in Florida. To figure that out before you even check out the president, because you'll be hearing shit about that all day.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's really frustrating to us just because we interact with politics at so many different levels, from school board, city commission, state, like county, all this, to see people focus so much on the presidential, because it is important. But if people understood the power that a school board has, if people understood the power of what's happening at the state level, like people would focus differently on what's going on, right? And so that's where a lot of my work is, and a lot of my passion is like, sure, a president, but like, I mean, SunPass, like SunPass is a state thing. School
Which
lunches
is actually illegal. People don't know that SunPass on 95 is actually illegal. Like it's not. We're not supposed to have a toll on a state highway because of the fact that it goes in.